Hi, my name is Alina and I'm in the 9th grade.
My name is Henriani. I'm in the 9th grade.
Hi, my name is Montserrat Diaz and I'm in the 11th grade.
Hi, my name is Jason Silva and I'm in the 9th grade.
And we're all from Brockton High School. Our topic is the infrastructure.
Energy infrastructure are systems designed to transport energy from where it is produced to where it is consumed. These systems that make up said infrastructure include power plants and power lines. These systems power homes, businesses, schools, and other facilities with electricity.
Before the widespread need for electricity or use of machinery, people manually performed tasks, which took a lot of time. Imagine every time you need to do laundry, instead of using the machines in your house or going to the laundromat, you have to dedicate entire days to washing your clothes.
However, during the first industrial revolution, when textile mills needed power, they used water wheels as an energy system. Then it shifted to steam engines in the second industrial revolution while using sources like kerosene and coal. Factories could be built in places other than riverbanks.
Eventually, in 1882, one of the first electric grids in America formed as Thomas Edison revealed a newly built power plant in Lower Manhattan. England built its first electric light station in 1882 to supply light and heat to local homes. With more and more developments happening all over the world, this is how modern energy infrastructure became to be.
Think about basic tasks like hot water, food preservation, and basic services like streetlights, trains, and software. These services are all examples of how energy infrastructure boosts or has already boosted quality of life.
The economic growth produced by energy infrastructure generates more money for the nation. These earnings go towards more infrastructure in a cycle of improvements. However, when a nation is too poor to invest, there are no improvements to benefit the people.
Energy infrastructure is the backbone of the economy. Businesses, offices, banks all use electricity to function. Also, most of us use electronic money for transactions and payments. Imagine the struggle if you could not withdraw or deposit money to pay your necessities.
Lastly, the global supply chain relies on energy for manufacturing and transportation. If energy infrastructure are not fixed, constant power outages will hinder the production of goods. This lack of supply would inflate prices of items that you buy, like food, water, electronics, clothes, and more.
Outdated and inefficient energy infrastructure occurs when a business does not invest into its maintenance. This could be due to shortage of money or ignorance of priority. Energy infrastructure is then fragile in extreme weather conditions and inconsistent in energy flow.
Texas is a primary example of this instance. When the Texas grid was being developed, they cheaped out and got power lines that were not resistant to snow or cold weather. Fast forward to 2021, Texas had a snowstorm that caused power lines to break left and right and left 11 million people without power at some point during the snowstorm.
Or look at Nigeria. Corruption and Western exploitation left little money for the energy infrastructure, causing electricity to become inconsistent. Nigeria had approximately 33 power outages per month and 222 in the last 12 years. $1.5 billion were lost because of it.
Put yourself in their shoes. You couldn't charge your phone, you couldn't store food, or you couldn't even take your train to work.
If we do not address the decay of energy infrastructure soon, the economy, quality of life, and the global supply chain will all drastically decline and propel the world into a possible depression. Everything, schools, transport systems, businesses, food production, and much more will stop or close down. We would be unable to sustain ourselves.
70% of the United States transmission lines are over 25 years old. 30% of Japan's fossil fuel infrastructure is over 40 years old. Imagine the devastation of more countries as energy collapse. Could nations survive a halt in their energy supply? Or could you survive a halt in your energy supply?
Hydroelectric power is when water is utilized as a source of power. Water pressure propels a turbine and creates electricity. This system generates about 17% of the world's power. However, if climate change continues to worsen, this method becomes inconsistent.
For example, Lake Mead will not be able to bring electricity to its major regions, and the Panama Canal could not sustain the supply chain. All issues derive from low water content and environmental change. Other places that receive higher sea levels and heavier rainfall would overwhelm and break essential yet weak dams.
The standardization of energy infrastructure globally is required to make a globally reliable energy system. Energy infrastructure can be put into three basic categories: energy source, energy transmission lines, and energy distribution lines.
For the standardization of energy sources, fossil fuels should be left out or phased out if already in use. Different energy sources instead of it varying from place to place. For example, A region with lots of wind could use wind turbines, or a place with lots of rivers could use hydroelectric dams.
Also, new energy systems could be developed. For example, if we examine wind turbines, we can see they use a force called lift. Lift is a force that applies to the blades, causing the turbine to spin, generating electricity. Or water turbines use water pressure as a force to spin the turbine, generating electricity. Now, imagine if a turbine used magnetic force. It could be used anywhere and would not be reliable on uncontrollable factors like wind, water pressure, or fossil fuel price.
When electricity from these various systems is generated, it goes on to carry high voltage AC currents or DC currents across long distances to substations. After a regional or local substation converts high voltage electric currents into low voltages, it runs on networks of distribution lines.
These lines bring energy to homes and businesses and other facilities with electricity. However, with distribution lines, there usually aren't enough of them or they deteriorate at alarming rates.
Now, how do we execute this? Government should fund this, starting with your support to make it happen. Why? Because catastrophic damage will affect things ranging from the global supply chain, hospitals, internet service. Everyday life will change without your support for this infrastructure.
New models of energy infrastructure is renewable, affordable, and durable. The efficiency of the new energy system would also reduce pollution and prevent the decline of natural resources. Germany and Singapore already enacted change with the renewable energy and standardized system, yet that is only a few in comparison to the global standard.
Energy infrastructure is a problem we need to address now. It is time to transform the way our society, a statement of its economic and technological advancement, can truly thrive. Thank you.
Nice job. Every group and everyone in this room, the topics you bring up are really difficult ones. And I'm like, wow, you've done a lot of thought with all of them. It's great. This is going to be expensive, right? And you mentioned getting the government involved. How do you think they're doing? You talked about it a little bit because there's 30% of the infrastructure is going to fall apart soon. It sounds like a dire issue, but it doesn't seem like the government's really. Why?
As much as expensive as these things are, it does not compare to the impact it would make if it was implemented. The efficiency of wind energy especially has risen so much over the years, and the cost is declining now. If the government saw how much impact it would bring to our communities, it could be a massive game changer in even the industry, and especially cost, as it would be way more affordable in the long run.
Or for example, if we look at Lake Mead, as we mentioned, it supplies energy to the lower part of Nevada and Southern California. And if we look globally, hydroelectricity supplies 17% of the world's energy. If we don't pay attention to it, 70% of the world's energy supply could be halted. You know how many problems that'll cause? Places won't be able to manufacture things. Places won't get light or electricity. Homes won't be able to heat it. It'll be causing a global crisis all over the world.
These governments lack to see the necessity of this problem, which is why we presented it today. We see how big of an issue this can be if it's not addressed, and we want to show it so you could see this needs to change now. If we leave this for many years down the road, one, we would lose a lot of money because the affordability is not there, and two, systems like Henry said, and even the Panama Canal, as we mentioned, they would all probably cease to exist in the next 30, 40, 50 years if fossil fuels keep declining as well, since they are a limited resource.
Thank you. So we mentioned government and corporations. What can we do individually?
Well, we have to look at how change happens. Change starts with your support. We have to look at how essential these infrastructures are. And we need to make it clear that we need these changes to happen, or else major damages will happen.
In other words, our voice matters in these opinions. If we never show this topic, if we never talk about it, how are governments going to enact this change? We need to be the ones that tell them, hey, this is a real problem. We need to start investing in this now before it's too late. Our voice is one of the most valuable things a person can have, and it has so much impact, more than we know.
Great. Thank you very much.